Hey, this is me, Marvin. I just finished watching a TED Talk of Robert is it Kiyosaki, I think. I believe that's what it is. And he was just talking about how in school people don't really teach you how to, don't teach you how to get rich in school. They teach you how to like get an income for a job. You know how to get a job to get an income so you can pretty much stay at the same level you're always going to stay at until you die. And how it isn't taught in school, and how him and his wife, looked like they worked on getting a game, kind of like Monopoly, except this time we're going a bit further and actually gives you a financial statement, which is something I never really thought of before. And it's really true. Without the education, you just really can't. You can only go so far with things. You have to constantly educate yourself and become smarter so that way you can work around certain situations and circumstances, because otherwise you're not going to be able to recognize things, good or bad, when they come towards you financially. And so learning about your finances and understanding those and what you need to do and what you should do and what you can't do, or what's best for you, is a smart move for anyone. And it just kind of opened my eyes up a little bit about how we view things. And one thing I learned, how liabilities and assets. And liabilities are basically anything that costs you money or is going to cost you something for you to hold on to or for you to keep. And an asset is anything that pays you back. Um, you know, really anything that pays you back. So if you have properties or stocks or bonds or anything that's paying you back versus you having to pay out for it, constantly, or some big amount for it. Um, that's a difference in that. And one thing you were talking about was how people view houses, and actually someone had brought this up earlier. And I think a lot of people view houses as, as okay, cool, I have a house or whatever. But actually, that house is a liability because you have to constantly, you have a mortgage on that house, and that mortgage has to be paid on a monthly basis, and you're not getting anything back. You get to stay in the house, but other than that, you don't get any money back for that. You have to constantly pay out for however long your mortgage is, and versus if you have a house, say, and you have like a second or third house that you rent out, you get money back from that because people, pay the rent. That is a asset for you because now you have someone that's in a house that you bought or a house that you're paying on, but they're paying you money, residual income every month. And so that's just me just kind of learning a little bit about money, because I think that's one thing I never really like fully understood, never really fully got or understood for money. That's something you really need to understand when you go into any kind of business. And also the other thing I learned too is that mistakes. How in school, if you make a mistake, you're pretty much taught how not to make a mistake in school, and that's that's just like kind of the rule, and you're not really allowed to, it's not, mistakes are not promoted, as soon, we're always constantly trying to avoid, a red mark or getting something wrong, versus really maybe learning more of what you're getting. You just learn how to avoid a mistake all the time. That's really kind of what it comes down to, instead of learning how to really um, take in what you really need to make you better, in life in general. And then the other thing he was talking about was how people, what's the word I'm looking for? The other thing he was talking about was how people, yeah, something must have happened now. I kind of forgot what it was. But yeah, it's very much a learning lesson. And right now I'm in a point in life where everything just kind of upside down, and it's really going to be up to me to really, and me to use my resources to really kind of get myself out of the spot that I'm in right now. It's not the end of it for sure. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great right now, but it's definitely not the end of the situation. And so things might get worse before they get better. Could be like that, but also a lot of this comes down to perspective, or sorry, yeah, perspective. on how you want to view things. A lot of times, everything just comes down to the meaning that you put behind it. So if you're in a really bad spot, if you allow yourself to go to that bad spot and just really constantly just think on that and just really like harbor on it, then you're gonna view it like that. If you're in a bad spot, but you see yourself already out of it onto something better, or allowing that spot to actually turn you into a stronger, more secure person, then you should do it. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. And I kind of realize, just because things look bad doesn't mean necessarily that they are bad. And that's kind of that. That's kind of that. And so I know I'm just going to learn, and this month is going to be an interesting month. And I think I can pull out. I'm going to need some help, obviously. But I think I am able to kind of get out of this little spot and to do better than what I'm doing right now. And just kind of learn how to put stuff together and make better decisions. So this is me, Marvin. I'm done for now.